Bring it on.
So you guys remember when I reviewed What's Up, Balloon to the Rescue, right? The movie that tried to cash in on another movie's success by ripping it off? Well, it was after I made that video that I realized something. There are way more of these than I thought. Seriously, I thought there were only like 4 or 5, but it turns out I was way off, as there are actually, nearly 40, with one of those movies, The Little Panda Fighter, being the focus of today's video. The Little Panda Fighter was created by Video Brinquedo, who are the same people who made that racist up ripoff I reviewed a while back. Thankfully, however, this movie isn't nearly as racist, so it's automatically better. But does that mean it's actually a good movie? No, of course not. Our movie opens in the emptiest landscape I've ever fucking seen, and we're introduced to our main character, Pancada. Yes, that's his name. He's daydreaming about being a pro dancer, and let me tell you right now, the animation in this movie exists, I suppose. Anyway, he gets tripped up by this polar bear who's all like, stop having thoughts, we have to set up Fight Club. Pancada's then like, Fight Club? I hate Fight Club, I prefer Footloose. So after some more daydreaming, a female bear skates past and is all like, Pancada, you're a bitch, and that's all that happens. Cut to the night of the fight. We see a literal Care Bear going up against, FNAF. And after the worst editing I've ever seen, the Care Bear fucking dies. This makes the polar bear very mad, since the FNAF bear always wins. Then 8,000 million trillion years later, we cut to the polar bear's office. And after another few million years, he's like, you like Fight Club, right? And Pancada goes, nah, I just pretend to. Which gives the polar bear an idea. Fuck that though, as we abruptly cut to, ew! What is this model? It looks awful. I don't even know what creature this is supposed to be. To top it all off, it's voiced by Mike Pollock. You know, Dr. Eggman?
You mean me? I was just about to consume this delicious banana.
Super idol this.
Please go put on the proper attire for chanting the mantra. You're interrupting my meditation.
You see, I was chatting with my boss at the club, and before I knew it, I was...
Make it snappy.
Yeah.
And that is just so incredibly jarring to me. There are then a bunch of scenes that don't matter at all. Then Pancada's all like, man, I really want to fuck the female bear.
Well, there's this girl. We work together down at the club, see? And I think she's really neat and everything. But she doesn't even know I exist. To that girl, I'm just a...
But you must also show her that loyalty has value.
Ah, yes. Okay. Yeah, you're talking about the value of money, right?
Do you honestly think you're fucking funny? Seriously.
Cut to the next day, and the polar bear's idea is to wear a disguise so we can fight the FNAF bear. He then tells Pancada to wash the disguise, and that's all that happens. So he turns on the washing machine and doesn't do anything for like 20 seconds. They then get a newspaper with a picture of the polar bear wearing his disguise. How'd they get the photo despite the disguise still being in the washing machine?
I don't know.
Also, the disguise shrunk a little in the wash. Cut to the fight, and the polar bear enters the ring, but his clothes shrink a little, leading everyone to believe it's Pancada, even though this guy is clearly taller, heavier, and buffer than Pancada, so the reason they're led to believe this is beyond me. So the fight begins, and the polar bear beats the fuck out of him. Also, throughout the fight, the movie kept cutting away to Pancada's dance audition, and here's how that ends. Anyway, they're like, your dancing was poggers, but the jump at the end was cringe. The next day, everyone's congratulating Pancada for the fight he didn't do. But then the female comes over and kisses him, which gives him,
Ha ha ha, he hath gotten the erection. Is that just so funny?
You shut the fuck up.
Also,
you shut the fuck up.
Get you a little bit.
You shut the fuck up. You shut the fuck up. I hope you die in a fire.
We also get sounds that make me very uncomfortable.
Cuddle bear. Wow. Bye. Woo woo.
Shut up, bitch!
Anyway, the polar bear calls him over and the animation quality dies.
You mean... You thought I was really talking about... I thought I was going crazy. Sorry, kid. Ain't that a kick in the head? You see, kid, I guess I really didn't know what you were talking about.
Was he laughing or having a seizure? Anyway, it turns out the FNAF bear wants a rematch, and that's all that happens. Cut to this place. There's a bunch of talking that doesn't matter at all. Mike Pollock then gives Pancata some half-baked philosophical mumbo-jumbo or some shit. Anyway, the next day, Pancata talks to the polar bear, and it's like, let me fight the FNAF bear. Hell nah, man, you're a pussy. Let me, or else I'll tell everyone what I saw you doing to that figurine last night.
Oh, hell no!
We then see a TV, and the audio is clearly redubbed over in this sentence.
It has been announced that former national heavyweight champ Frank Teddy and current champion Pancata will...
Hey guys, how rushed do you think this movie was? There's then an epic training montage. Whoa, riveting! Also, this scene goes on for like almost 3 minutes. Oh, you think I'm joking? Nope. Moving on, it's now the night of the fight, and Pancata gets his ass beat.
Where's the passion? Where's the panache? Where's the Pancata we know and love?
But he was in like one other fight. What? Anyway, the fight continues, and I'm gonna be honest here, this scene actually shocked me. And I don't mean in the way of it was better than I thought it would be, because it wasn't at all. I mean in the way of like, you know the underdog story? Where the character gets beaten up but eventually locks in and wins? Yeah, that doesn't happen here, as Pancata continues to get his ass beat so hard that he ends up getting knocked out and losing the fight. Like, what? I didn't see that coming. Anyway, the next day, Pancata goes to the polar bear and apologizes for losing, but in a massive plot twist, it turns out the polar bear had a plan all along, and that plan was to hype up Pancata to fight so we can bet on him losing and get hella cash. And let me just say right now, this is definitely one of the best plot twists in the history of cinema. Get Star Wars' I am your father out of the way. Little Panda Fighter's gaslighting for money is where it's at. Also, Pancata oddly doesn't seem all that upset to hear this. Cut to this guy, a character I've been ignoring this whole time. He figures out that it was the polar bear who was fighting the first time, so he goes to confront him, but he's too late as the polar bear has already run away with the money, leaving Pancata in charge. Where is the polar bear, you ask? Well, he went to Bear Springs Resort. Or in other words, literally just Antarctica. But anyways, with the bar in Pancata's control, he removes the boxing ring and replaces it with a stage, finally being able to live out his dancing dreams. We get one final shot of Pancata's FNAF animatronic ass face, and the movie ends. So that was The Little Panda Fighter. Dear God. That was easily another contender for worst movie ever made. With all that said though, I actually, and you're not gonna believe this, I actually liked it a lot more than the last two movies I covered combined. But when I say liked it more, I mean in the same way that I prefer The Star over Nefarious, as in not that much more at all.
This stuff, trash, kid.
As while all these movies are complete and utter wastes of time, The Little Panda Fighter had a slight it's so bad it's good vibe. The fight scenes are admittedly kind of entertaining, and the animation being so bad kind of made me goof a little in some parts. All of this makes The Little Panda Fighter 0.4% better than these other two movies. And that's the whole video, I guess. I'm going to bed now.